Commander of the Allied Joint Force Command in Naples, Commander of the U.S. Naval Forces in Europe, and Chief of Naval Operations. He is one of the few naval officers ever to hold 4 different 4-star assignments. In 2007, he was appointed Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the top position in the U.S. Armed Forces. In 2009, the Senate confirmed him to a second term by a unanimous vote. Serving under presidents of both parties, he led through a period of extraordinary challenge. He was known for advancing the fight against terrorism, for striving to protect U.S. interests in the Middle East, for elevating readiness to meet future threats, and for pursuing a balanced, integrated approach to myriad security risks worldwide. He also played a key role in ending Don't Ask, Don't Tell. His meritorious service has been honored by countries on 5 different continents. He retired from the Navy in 2011. Since then, among other things, he has taught from time to time at a humble institution off Exit 9 of the New Jersey Turnpike, a university that, fittingly, is best known for its basketball team. We salute Admiral Michael Mullen.
An admirable admiral, adroit and adaptable in advancing America's interests abroad, buoyed by faith in his force's devotion, through turbulent waters, he anchors away. Michael Glenn Mullen, Doctor of Laws.
She grew up in Hawaii. She loved exploring its natural environment, moss and mushrooms, lava and palms. She also loved solving puzzles and doing math. As an undergraduate at Pomona College, she developed a passion for the chemistry of living things. She did her PhD here at Harvard and stayed on as a postdoc in the lab of Jack Szostak, a future Nobel laureate. Then she was a postdoc in the lab of the Colorado lab of Thomas Cech, another future Nobel laureate. She came back east and rose through the faculty ranks at an obscure university in the pizza capital of Southern Connecticut. There, she forged forward with her intensive research on the structure and function of RNA. In 2002, she moved to the University of California, Berkeley. In time, she became intrigued by what's known as CRISPR, an acronym for sequences of DNA with a less than euphonious name, clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. Most notably, she discovered the molecular marvel known as CRISPR-Cas9, often described Often described as genetic scissors, CRISPR-Cas9 offers a path-breaking way to edit part of an organism's genetic code. Its implications for biology and its potential for treating illnesses, as well as improving agriculture, are far-reaching and profound. So much so that in 2020, she was honored with a Nobel Prize in Chemistry. That the honor followed so soon after the discovery reflects its extraordinary significance. Her work is a classic example of how research propelled by the sheer human passion to understand the world holds promise to change the world. The Li Ka-shing Chancellor's Professor of Biomedical Sciences at Berkeley and founder of the Innovative Genomics Institute, she is not only a pioneer in the science of gene editing, she is also a leading voice addressing its ethical use. To make sure that her first Harvard doctorate never gets lonely, we are pleased to confer a second one on Jennifer Doudna.
Deft in devising molecular scissors, persistent in parsing palindromic repeats, an edifying editor of the letters of life, whose scientific insights could not be crisper. Jennifer Doudna, Doctor of Science.
He was born in a small village in Oaxaca, Mexico. The son of indigenous Mixtec parents. At age 9, he immigrated to the United States. He grew up in poverty on a California prune farm and worked in the fields while attending school. At age 12, he contracted tuberculosis. He spent months in a sanitarium, isolated from his family, reading prodigiously, and spending hours listening to the radio. He was struck by the voices that were absent. An excellent student, he was admitted to Harvard College at a time when Mexican American and indigenous students at Harvard were very few. In his long ago days at Dunster House, he co-founded the student organization Harvard Radcliffe Raza. He launched the first Spanish language programming at radio station WHRB. He went on to Harvard Law School. During breaks, he returned to California to work in the fields. And after receiving his degree, he went back home, committed to serving his community. Soon after, with farm workers, activists, and others, he founded Radio Bilingüe. We didn't have a business plan, he recalls. We just did it. His goal was to uplift and amplify the rich diversity of voices in his community and to bring news, information, music, and cultural programming to people long excluded and underserved. Radio Bilingüe began as a single station based in Fresno. It blossomed into the National Latino Public Radio Network with more than 20 stations in California and the U.S. Southwest, and scores of affiliates nationwide and in Mexico. It became one of the country's largest public radio networks, with hundreds of thousands of devoted listeners invited to hear voices and viewpoints and music long scarce in U.S. media. A former MacArthur Fellow, he has been honored with the Corporation for Public Broadcasting's Murrow Award for Outstanding Achievement, and with the highest honor the National Endowment for the Humanities bestows for contributions to cultural heritage. Some 50 years after he received his past diplomas from Harvard, we welcome him back with pride to present his third. We honor Hugo Morales.
An impassioned pathbreaker in public media, creating new spaces for voices unheard. He awakens the airways to inform and inspire, making service to others his station in life. Hugo Morales, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Our next guest is a historian of exceptional erudition and scope. He wrote the first academic biography of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Nearly 5 decades later, he published a biography of Wendell Willkie, described as the businessman who saved his party and conceived a new world order. In between, he has written acclaimed books on the Dreyfus Affair in France, on the Harlem Renaissance, on African resistance to European colonialism, and on Islam's role in the making of Europe. His masterwork is the magisterial 2-volume biography of W.E.B. Du Bois, an 1890 graduate of Harvard College and the first African American to receive a Harvard PhD. Du Bois went on to become an eminent sociologist, prolific author, and trailblazing architect of the civil rights movement. Our guest's luminous portrait of the life of Du Bois was recognized with not 1 but 2 Pulitzer Prizes. The first volume was also awarded the Bancroft and Parkman Prizes, among history's highest accolades. A native of Little Rock, Arkansas, and a graduate of Fisk, Columbia, and the London School of Economics, he taught for nearly 2 decades at Rutgers as the Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Professor of History. He went on to become the Julius Silver University Professor at NYU, where he is now emeritus. Scrupulous in his research, vast in his learning, often poetic in his writing, he is a historian devoted to the rigorous pursuit of truth. A scholar whose practice, he has said, is to let the facts find the theory. We not only welcome him, we bring him good wishes on this doubly special occasion. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you.
We honor and congratulate a former MacArthur Fellow, past president of the Society of American Historians, a recipient of the National Humanities Medal and Birthday Boy, David Levering Lewis.
A premier painter of portraits of progress, capacious in intellect, perspicacious in insight, his sagacious scholarship and elegant prose illumine the contours of consequential lives. David Levering Lewis, Doctor of Laws.
She grew up in a small village in Hungary, the daughter of a butcher and bookkeeper. She spent her early childhood in an adobe house with no refrigerator and no running water. A star science student from an early age, she went to college, then graduate school, and became fascinated by the molecule known as messenger RNA. The funds for her research dried up. She immigrated to the United States with her husband and their 2-year-old daughter. Under Hungarian law, they could bring only about $100 with them. But the rules evidently said nothing about their daughter's teddy bear, inside of which they sewed a stash of cash to help them make their new start. She worked at Temple University, then at the University of Pennsylvania, in research roles off the tenure track. She was determined to find a way that messenger RNA could be introduced into cells to cause a specific protein to be produced, either to trigger an immune response or to treat disease directly. She was continually met with skepticism by senior scientists and by grant makers. Nevertheless, she persisted. Eventually, she joined the lab of Penn immunologist Drew Weissman. The result was a pioneering discovery that enables the therapeutic use of messenger RNA. The discovery was crucial to the historic development of mRNA vaccines, a vital weapon in the battle against COVID-19. It underlines the vaccines developed by both Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech. She served as BioNTech's senior vice president from 2013 to 2022 and is now a professor at her alma mater, the University of Szeged in Hungary. After years of perseverance, pushing forward when others might have quit, she has been recognized with a cascade of honors. But that is not what she has found most gratifying. For me, she has said, the greatest recognition was the letter I received from a nursing home where everyone had been vaccinated during the outbreak. No one had died, and they thanked me. We thank you, too, for her resilience in pursuing transformative research and her contribution to saving countless lives. We honor Katalin Karikó.
A catalytic agent in the quest to conquer COVID, a paragon of perseverance in the face of doubt, a resolute investigator whose transformative research royally deserves our crimson corona. Katalin Karikó, Doctor of Science.
He made a splash in Splash, then hit it big in Big. He fell in love with the mermaid and followed her under the sea. He tapped out Heart and Soul on Tiptoe. He managed the Rockford Peaches to the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League Championship. He lost sleep in Seattle. He went to court in Philadelphia to battle discrimination. Against people with AIDS. He brought ping pong diplomacy to China. And he led a platoon in the D-Day invasion of Normandy. He survived years alone on a remote island with a volleyball his only friend. He solved ancient mysteries as a brilliant Harvard professor of symbology. He weathered an attack by Somali pirates, and he also negotiated a spy swap in Cold War Berlin. He landed a failing jet in the Hudson River. He fought to publish the Pentagon Papers, and he made Andy smile and Bo Peep swoon. He discovered Elvis. He got mail. He has been honored with Oscars, Golden Globes, Emmys, and the Cecil B. DeMille Award, and was the youngest person ever to receive the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award. He has shown in diverse roles, not just on screen but off, as a producer of award-winning movies and TV series, including Band of Brothers and From the Earth to the Moon, as a writer, a director, a typewriter aficionado, and now a first-time novelist. And not least, as a devoted philanthropist and humanitarian. He has ardently supported causes including AIDS and cancer research, space exploration, and the well-being of military veterans and their families, to name just a few. When a publication took a poll a decade ago asking respondents to name the most trusted person in America, he finished on top. And as the President of the United States said in presenting him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, he has always saved his best role for real life, earning the best title you can have, a good man. Having him here makes this a beautiful day in our neighborhood. It is my pleasure to present our Academy's Award to, envelope please. Tom Hanks.
Wilson's bestie, Buzz's buddy, Ryan's savior, America's dad. With wit and grace, grit and gumption, his performances tap the heart and soul and show us why in Tom we trust. Thomas Jefferson Hanks, Doctor of Arts. In the name of the Society of Scholars, I declare that these persons are entitled to the rights and privileges pertaining to their several degrees, and that their names are to be forever borne on its roll of honorary members. It is now my great privilege to invite one of our honored guests to address this assembly. Graduates, family, colleagues, friends, let us welcome Tom Hanks. we have one more surprise for you, Tom.
In honor of Dr. Thomas Jeffrey Hanks, we hereby present this chronicle of every movie he has ever been in. What? We only have 3 minutes? Ian, hit it! Sleepless in Seattle, Philadelphia was quite a hit. Moving to a fixer-upper starter home in Money Pit. Catch Me If You Can and the Da Vinci Code were off the charts. Emailing Meg Ryan nerdy jokes, he captured all our hearts. Ping pong, football, shrimp and boats, and taking care of Jenny's son. Got Best Actor for his role in Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, run! Private Ryan, Mr. Banks, and Wilson, he'll save all of them. Got it! Playing Mr. Rogers. Wow, that man can rock a cardigan. Playing Mr. Rogers, wow, that man can rock a cardigan. Playing Mr. Rogers, wow, that man can rock a cardigan. Playing Mr. Rogers, wow, that man can rock a cardigan.
2 minutes!
Busting Richard Nixon as he leaked the news on Watergate. A man called Otto made me cry. The terminal was pretty great. Elvis, big league of their own. There's no crying in baseball. Goodness, why is there so much? Are we going to say them all? Greyhound, oh, is that a bus? Or was it the Polar Express? Loved Apollo 13. Commercially was a success. Teaming up with Disney as Geppetto in Pinocchio. David Pumpkins SNL, oh, what an epic cameo. David Pumpkins SNL, oh, what an epic cameo. David Pumpkins SNL, oh, what an epic cameo. David Pumpkins SNL, what an epic cameo.
2:30 seconds.
Pigeon volunteers and splash, that thing you do, Toy Story 3. Happy Days and Family Ties, The Love Boat, Maya, MRT. He Knows You're Alone in Punchline, Bachelor Party, and Dragnet. Bet you think we're done here, but we haven't even started yet. Go see him in Asteroid City, it premieres on June 16. Go see him in Asteroid City, it premieres on June 16. Listing all your movies gave us palpitations quite severe. Still you made our childhoods and we're so happy that you're here. Still you made our childhoods and we're so happy that you're here. Still you made our childhoods and we're so happy that you're here. Still you made our childhoods and we're so happy that you're here. Bring it home, Ian! We love you from Earth to the moon, and we're so glad you're here today. You've always been there for us, so we'll never leave you cast away. So let's away with all this fuss. There's nothing left here to discuss. You've always got a friend in us, and there's just one thing left to say. Tom Hanks is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
By some members of the Hasty Pudding. It could easily have been written by Tom Lear, who recited the chemical elements in a way just like this. Extraordinary that they managed to do this. Hasty Pudding, of course, is its own phenomenon at Harvard. And I think Tom Hanks has been very appreciative of this.
Dr. Hanks, top that.
So now he is being introduced as the speaker.
Just do this thing. All right. You know, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Now listen. It's not fair, but please don't be embittered by this fact that without having done a lick of work without having spent any time in class, without once walking into that library, in order to have anything to do with the graduating class of Harvard, its faculty, or its distinguished alumni, I make a damn good living playing someone who did. It's the way of the world, kids. On behalf of all of us who studied for 2 years at Chabot Community College in Hayward, California, 2 semesters at California State University, Sacramento, and for 45 years at the School of Hard Knocks, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in one damn thing after another. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know much about Latin. I have no real passion for enzymes. And public global policy is something I scan in the newspaper just before I do the Wordle. And yet here I am, closing for Josiah, Palace, and Vic. Thank you, guys. Some of us here can recite by repetition the preamble to a television show we might have seen 5 days a week about a strange being from another planet with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, Superman, who, disguised as a mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper — there were many metropolitan newspapers once, and some of them were great — who could change the course of mighty rivers and bend steel with his bare hands. He was faster than a speeding bullet, and he was more powerful than a locomotive, and he was able to leap tall buildings at a single bound, and those are very, very impressive superpowers. No? Well, what was most impressive about his powers was how he chose to wield them. Yeah, cats were saved from trees, and evildoers were banished to the phantom zone, and the innocent were rescued with reliable and assuring regularity. But in those half hours, which have since grown to many full-length films and multiverses, and God, you kids see them all, was the ongoing struggle for not just the protection and safety of the world, but too the exposing of crooks and their lies to the light of day. Superman, you see, and his proxies of Wonder Woman and Captain America and Black Panther and the Black Widow and the Fantastic Four. My God, there's a million of them. They are all enmeshed in that never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. And in such a struggle, being a Superman is a plus, even with his one lethal weakness, exposure to chunks of the wreckage of his home planet destroyed by its own hubris and apathy. But hey, there ain't no Superman nor anyone else in his Justice League. There's just us on this planet. Now, on occasions such as this, beware of certain orators who resort to using sage quotations from historical figures, or the words of legends of literature and arts, or the name-dropping of famous friends as a claim to some kind of wisdom or super ability. Some people standing at this podium shouldn't be considered much more than lucky sots who are in the right place at the right time with the right goods and the right attitude. Or, as a man named Marlon Brando once said to me, Vic, would you pick up that name I just dropped? Marlon Brando, would you hold on to it till we're done? Thank you. Give it back to me at the end. I'm going to need it back. Yes, as a man named Marlon Brando once said to me on a message he left on my telephone answering machine, Tommy, handkerchief. This is Marlon Brandflakes calling you to ask where you are. Then later, he told me that when he was a young man and registered for the draft, he filled out the form for his name and age, but when it came to his race, he wrote human. But Tommy, what are we all but human? Yeah, we are all but human. Now, as an armchair historian who reads nonfiction for pleasure, the books divine that there has never been a graduating class that has not faced the greatest challenges of all time. That come every spring, the maelstrom of history swirls so wildly that no matter the year or the era or the generation, there is always an atmospheric river of events that makes right now the hinge upon which our fate is turning. And we here in the stands look at you all in the caps and the gowns, and we hope, oh, at last help is on the way. Somewhere matriculating today is a man of iron, a woman of steel, a superhuman just in the nick of time. Now, this is not because we have failed in our duties or are completely spent. We have done some very super things over our generations. It's because we are all in a cage match, mixed martial arts battle royale with agents of hubris, apathy, intolerance, and braying incompetence, the malevolent equals to Imperial stormtroopers Lex Luthor and Loki. And we could all use a superhero right now. Now, looking out at the flowing colors of Harvard Yard, the goofy big hands that clap, the balls that represent the world on which we live, the streamers and the piatas, and someone's very big face rendered large out there amongst the, there she is, that's it, that's it. We see beings who are young and restless, with energy and imagination, with righteousness and enlightenment and joy and compassion. And we celebrate your proclaimed wisdom and your worth ethic. We know no one is faster than a speeding bullet, to our shame, every day, to our shame. But we can still summon more power than a locomotive, and we are able to leap tall buildings at a single bound if we have the right gizmo. We can change the course of mighty rivers, if such a thing should be done. And we make machines that bend steel as easily as using our bare hands. And we know that to each other we often seem like strange beings from another planet, in habits and tastes and languages, with holidays and foods we eat, and names of the days of the week, all varying. We all have special powers and abilities far beyond the reach of other mortals. Some of us can repair a screen door with ease. Some of us can take care of a 5-year-old kid and a toddler for 24 hours a day and never stop loving them. Some of us make sense of physics and economics and global policy. Some of us survive somehow on minimum earnings. Some of us graduate from college despite years of lockdowns and Zooms. Now, these achievements are all stellar, even though, yes, we are all but human. Still, we'd like to look up in the sky and see not a bird, not a plane, but, well, someone who is young and strong and super, who will fight the never-ending battle for truth, for justice, and for the American way. Someone who will take on that work. Now, all right. Now, a kooky uncle once said to me, We should all stay in school as long as we can, because the moment we graduate, we have to work every day for the rest of our lives. Now, that uncle was, a bit bitter. But he was not wrong. We all get to complain about the man, and we all have debts we got to pay. And we're all entitled to a day off to lay about. But the work that is called for, that we must do, has no expiration date. It is the construction of our more perfect union. And that job will never, ever be completed. It's one that requires rigorous attention, unfading wherewithal, and all hands. The work is the keeping of the promises of our promised land, the practice of decency, the protection of freedom, and the promotion of liberty for all, with no exceptions. And man, that takes on a lot of work. It's work that is done on multiple job sites every single day, and you can call each of them the battle for truth, justice, and the American way. Yes, the American way. The American way is exampled in both plain sight and in subtle attitude. It's in moments of routine exchange and in broad expectations. It's in places of historic weight and import, and in the small spaces in which we all stand. The American way can be exampled when you respect the law and the rights of all, because if you don't, who will? When your food is brought to you and you thank the server, because if you don't, who will? When you pick up the litter that has missed the recycling bin, because if you don't, who will? When you vote your conscience and make sure your neighbor has the opportunity to do the same with theirs, because if you don't, who will? When you make good on your victories and learn from your losses, because both are the results of proud and noble efforts. If you don't, who will? The American way was first proposed not far from here, when subjects of a king demanded more control over their lives than that dictated by someone else's definition of providence. At the same time, women had no legal recourses. An entire segment of the population had been taken from their homeland, enslaved to work as chattel regardless of their age. And the original inhabitants of this continent, from sea to shining sea, the only ones who carried the DNA of America, were considered subhuman. Yet even with such paradox was written down the how-to. How to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure those blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, no matter as time and conflict and the institutions of our democracy would determine our gender, our race, our creed, our color, our chosen deities, or who we love. For it is our manifest destiny to pursue our own happiness. All of us, no exceptions, are entitled to the inalienable rights of liberty and freedom because we live in the United States of America. The vocabulary of the American way, of the law and the rights we share, is some part philosophical musing, some part answering a question with a question, some part trying to bowl us all over with your knowledge of Latin. Some part answering the question with a question. And the rest is all practical. It's even physical, and it's certainly tangible. It's the language of telling the truth. What is truth again in Latin? Veritas. The language of telling the truth. It is in the vision quest for truth that we look to you newly incorporated members of the Justice League of Avengers to come to the rescue. For the truth to some is no longer empirical, it's no longer based on data, nor common sense, nor even common decency. Telling the truth is no longer the benchmark for public service. It's no longer the salve to our fears or the guide to our actions. Truth is now considered malleable by opinion and by zero-sum endgames. Imagery is manufactured with audacity, with purpose to achieve the primal task of marring the truth with mock logic, to achieve with fake expertise, with false sincerity, with phrases like, I'm just saying, or I'm just asking, I'm just wondering. Now, literally, you cannot believe your eyes, and your ears will help others lie to you. Someone will report the world to you exactly as you wish it were, full of alternative facts, of conjured narrative meant to buttress the status quo and deny its offenses, or rejig the rules and muddy the playing field depending on where one is on the food chain and the moral spectrum. The American way can be demonstrated without ceasing as a perpetual prayer by every big shot and any plain Jane or Joe Blow. Justice can be an everyday pursuit, case by case, with both lightning speed and the slow, inevitable effect of gravity. Truth, though, truth. Truth feeds up in the high country, as elusive as serenity, yet as certain as the North Star and the Southern Cross. Truth is mined at the intersections of our chosen behaviors and our fixed habits, in our personal boundaries. Truth has synonyms such as honesty, honor, transparency, and yet the common practice of so many is to play fast and loose with those very words, to create enemies, to claim victimhood, to raise the mediocre into merit, and to make cloudy a vista that is actually crystal clear. Likewise, truth has opposites. Omission. You don't need to know that. Distraction. That's not the real story. This is. Opinion masquerading as clairvoyance. Oh, here's what is going to happen. And influence peddling. A lot of people are saying. Truth, too, has a nemesis equal to any colored kryptonite that, like a feral hound, is never too far off the path in the weeds and in the shadows, lying in wait for the lethal opportunity to bring truth down. And that beast is indifference, which will make moot all the permanence found in truth. Indifference will rust away the promise of our promised land. Propaganda and bald-faced lies will erode over time. Idolatry and imagery lose luster and effect. Ignorance and intolerance can be replaced by experience in the wink of an eye, but indifference will narrow the vision of America's people and make dim the light of Lady Liberty's symbolic torch. Indifference makes citizens into indentured servants held in labor by the despots and tyrants whose default setting is cynicism, who outlaw dissent and ban art and dialogue and books, who grab power any way they can, enabled by the subterfuge of their co-conspirators, rewarding the rationale of the complicit, and surging into the vacuum caused by the indifference of a people who have been made weary by struggle, so weary that they lose hope and are left to yearn to be saved by the fiction of superheroes. Every day, every year, and for every graduating class, there is a choice to be made. It's the same option for all grown-ups who have to decide to be one of three types of Americans: those who embrace liberty and freedom for all, those who won't, or those who are indifferent. Only the first do the work of creating a more perfect union, a nation indivisible. The others get in the way. In the never-ending battle you have all officially joined as of today, the difference is in how truly you believe and in how vociferously you promote and how tightly you hold to the truth that is self-evident, that of course we are all created equally, yet differently. And of course, we are all in this together. If we do the work, justice and the American way are within our grasp, no matter our gender, our faith, our station, our heritage or genetic makeup, the shade and hue of our flesh, or the continental birthplace of our ancestors. Why is that truth so hard for some to accept, much less respect? If you live in the United States of America, the responsibility is yours, ours. The effort is optional. But the truth is sacred, unalterable, chiseled into the stone of the foundation of our republic. All of us are able. None of us are super. We are the Americans. Liberty and justice is for us all. Because yes, we have specific names, and we have lived every year of our ages. But when it comes to race, we are all uniquely, magnificently, simply human. Or so said Marlon Brando to Tommy Tommy Handkerchief. May goodness and mercy follow you all the days of your lives. Godspeed. Congratulations.
That was a terrific speech. I think Tom Hanks reminded us of why we love his movies so much, which is to bring not star power, but humanity.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Hanks, for your inspiring words, for your message of inclusion, for your celebration and defense of Veritas. And thank you for the privilege of your presence with us today. Now, as he prepares to step down from his role this summer, after a singular career of leadership and service at Harvard and for all of higher education, I proudly recognize and warmly thank the 29th President of Harvard University, my extraordinary colleague and good friend, Larry Bacow.
So now the pressure's really on, following Tom Hanks. I suspect that many of you are sitting here today as newly minted Harvard graduates, wondering what the future holds for you. I actually can relate to that. As you know, this is my last commencement, and I'm actually pondering the same question. Like you, I'm contemplating what happens next. Whatever your dreams are today, I wish for you what you wish for yourself. And I hope that living a meaningful life is high on your list. What do I mean by that? You've worked extremely hard to earn your Harvard degree, but you're also extremely fortunate to be sitting here today. With education, with good fortune, comes responsibility, including looking beyond your success to help others. No one accomplishes anything in life on their own. At the beginning of this ceremony, I ask you to recognize your friends and families who have supported you, and you did. But you have also received support from countless others. For example, those who pushed and encouraged you and who may have recognized something in you that you did not recognize in yourself. Those who had confidence in you even before you proved yourself worthy of their trust. Those who extended themselves to open doors for you. And to all of these, you can add the invisible others, those who volunteered their time to create organizations that have been central to your life, those who worked to build institutions that nurtured your capacities, talents, and ambitions, those who helped to sustain and strengthen this great university, which I hope has left its mark on each of you and from which you now graduate. I could go on. Soon it will be your turn to extend a helping hand and to create hope and opportunity for others. We expect this of you and even more. I've never met anyone who thinks the world we live in is perfect. This is a statement that's equally true of liberals and conservatives, Democrats and Republicans, and those across the political spectrum. So if you believe the world is imperfect, the only way it will get better is if good people like you work to repair it. This is now your responsibility. Harvard gave me a great education, but it also raised my expectations for myself. It opened my eyes to what is possible. At my commencement, I never imagined that someday I would be standing here giving the final remarks at your commencement. I hope as you find your way through life that you will have similarly pleasant surprises. And now to all of those who helped me through the path of life, to those who gave me opportunities that I never could have imagined, to those who gave me the extraordinary responsibility to lead Harvard over these past 5 years, and those who helped me do it, I thank you. And to Adele, my wife of 48 years, who's been my partner of this incredible journey, and all others, thank you. I love you. As I prepare to take my leave, I've reminded of a quotation from a book of wisdom. It's called Ethics of Our Fathers. It's the meditation of a great teacher and a great scholar. I have learned much from my teachers, more from my colleagues, but most from my students. To the class of 2023, thank you for teaching me so well. I'm grateful to each and every one of you for being a constant source of hope and optimism. Serving as your president has been the privilege of my life. I look forward eagerly to celebrating all that you will do for the world and all those whose lives will be made better by your good work. To the class of 2023, thank you, farewell, and Godspeed.
Please rise as the commencement choir leads us in singing of Fair Harvard. Please remain standing as the PC minister pronounces the benediction. The commencement exercises will then be ended. The sheriff of Middlesex County will declare the meeting adjourned. The audience is requested to remain in place until the president and fellows and their guests have withdrawn from the platform.
It is my privilege to draw our ceremonies to a close this day with words of blessing. In its ancient roots, blessing does not confer goodness, it honors it. Blessing is not a spell of protection, but an act of recognition, not a way of making things become good, but a way of acknowledging that which is already good. Blessing is a way of seeing. In that ancient spirit then, class of 2023, and on behalf of the colleagues and honored guests on this stage, on behalf of the family and friends crowding this tercentenary theater and watching from near and far, let me say, we see you. We see how good you all are. Bless you for all you have given to this university these last days, these last years. Bless you for your intelligence, for your insight in reckoning a complex world. Bless you for your diligence, for your rigor in parsing difficult problems. Bless you for your resilience, for your persistence in enduring stubborn challenges. Bless you for your courage, for your grit in engaging an unsettled present, for your strength in addressing an uncertain future. Harvard graduates, you have blessed us with your intelligence, your diligence, your resilience, your courage. We have seen it in you here at Harvard, and we see it on glorious display before us here now. I wish you had my view of all of you. We see so much good in you, and we also see a world in perilous need of goodness, a world in need of intelligence and diligence and resilience and courage. We see a world in need of you. Having blessed us here at Harvard, you now are also blessed with a duty of sharing your hard-won gifts with our wider world. I must tell you, the need is desperate and immense. But the task couldn't fall to a better or better prepared group of people. So, Harvard class of 2023, may you enjoy every blessing this day and always. Go in peace and become for our world the blessing you have already been to us. Amen.
As the High Sheriff of Middlesex County, I declare that the meeting will be adjourned.
The bells are ringing. The meeting is adjourned. What a meeting it has been, Junlei. It's wonderful. Just wonderful.
Diana, what a privilege it has been to be in this treehouse view, and you being the best guide anyone could hope for to just understand and be part of this beautiful ceremony.
Thank you. I mean, it has been such an inspiration. I mean, from Tom Hanks giving Harvard some instruction on Veritas, on the meanings of truth, the meanings of equity and diversity, that has been an extraordinary thing to listen to him, that we're not all out for superheroes, although everyone seems to know about superheroes. And then these other speeches have been so inspirational.
Particularly, I think, I'm struck by the speeches of our students, and I'm going to paraphrase Palas Chow, which is that I think the privilege of a higher education, whether you see it from the perspective of our students or from our honorants, is this idea that there's nothing too small there's nothing too distant. There's no one too marginalized for us to be passionate about.
Yes.
And that I think about our honorand, Katalin Karikó, whose research was unknown. And she was focused on tiniest molecules, unfunded, doubted, unrecognized.
Messenger RNAs, yes.
But without whose work, none of us would be here today to be able to have the kind of in-person ceremony and community event.
It's extraordinary. And there have been really significant firsts here. I think of the graduate speaker, Vic, who identifies as non-binary. That's probably a first. Who is native from the Huron-Potawatomi people, who also is perhaps the first of our orators to have been shot, who was attacked in a hate crime in Michigan and had to learn to walk again to get to the podium today. What an extraordinary thing. And her message, of course, is the one that all of us know deep in our hearts, which is you can't do it alone. She's had to count on support literally every step of the way.
And I think what she said was that I am here.
Yes.
And that we are here. And that all the pomp and circumstance serves to affirm that it is all right that we show up here as ourselves.
Yes.
Through all the rich tapestry of where we came from and the people who have supported us. Just to be here to complete this step so that we can head forward.
Yes.
In the rituals that you talk about that connects our past, our present, and our future.
And this meeting that we have been in is adjourned until this day next year, basically. An extraordinary sense of what it is to convene and then to adjourn, but to be the same yet a different community when we reconvene in a year's time. Just an amazing sense of time and place and process that brings us step by step into these gates. And as you have put it so often, these journeys take us step by step from here to wherever we go next. You can see some of the clergy. I'm looking at a screen in which I can see one of the Zoroastrian members of our clergy. There are Tibetan members of our clergy, Jewish and Muslim, a truly multi-religious and multicultural community that is gathered here.
And from here, our graduates now head over to their respective schools to go through the diploma ceremony, in which they can receive their diploma, go down the stages, hug their families, and just celebrate today what they have achieved.
There is so much to look for. I think in one of the hymns of today, giving thanks for the scholars past and present, whose bounty we digest, for the teachers who inspire us and summon forth our best, for our rivals and companions, sometimes foolish, sometimes wise, for the human web upholding this noble enterprise, the enterprise of learning and of convening a great university. We are so thankful for that. And I've been very thankful to be here with you, Junlei, to gain your perspectives on the steps that lead us from early childhood to the kind of fulfillment that is represented in this wonderful place today.
Well, Diana, thank you for being the guide, and I want to thank all the families who are watching. Thank you for the gift of your graduates who are here with us, and they're grateful for everything that you are to them.
This great festival is concluding with the sounds of the Harvard Band, and will eventually be hearing, but we can't hear it right now, the bells of 17 or more bell towers all over Cambridge, chiming out the congratulations of this day. Seats here, and eventually we'll see some shots of those families as well, who I hope might be seated by a jumbotron so they can actually see what's going on.
And part of the experience of being Harvard isn't just the classrooms, it's the communities, and then for many of our students, it's raising their families, having their family grow up right around here.
That's right.
Right around the Cambridge community.
Dunster House, down on the river, one of the salient houses with a very nice cupola or steeple. It doesn't have the bells that Lowell House has. I think one of the highlights of my time at Lowell House was the transition involved in returning a historic set of bells from Russia to Russia, and having a new set of bells cast and installed in the bell tower of Lowell House. That took quite a while and took quite a number of trips to Russia on my part as well, and it was fascinating. It really was fascinating. And we still have contact with a bell ringer from Russia who now makes bells and who has taken part in training some of our bell ringers.
Dan, I know you had mentioned that when you were at Lowell House,
yes,
of course you were the dean for so many students, but you and your partner, you and your wife also had the experience of being house parents.
Oh, we did, yes indeed.
Children who fled war.
Yes.
In Croatia.
It was in Kosovo.
Kosovo, I'm sorry.
And it was after the ethnic cleansing of Kosovo. And these students managed to make it into one of the refugee camps in Albania and then to the United States as refugees. That was 1999. And people looked around and said, well, where could a family of four who were basically teenagers live? And some people thought of me and Dorothy, who had moved into the faculty dean's residence of Lowell House. We had quite a lot of extra bedrooms on our third floor, and we turned them over to these kids from Kosovo. They were at that point 15, 16, 17, and 18. They didn't know a lot of English, and now, 20 years later, they're still our family. I mean, that managed to create a family that has become very important to us. One of them is a doctor in San Francisco. One of them is an administrator, a team leader at one of the big pharma companies in Kendall Square. One is works in medical billing for Harvard. But they are around here and very much part of our family.
Well,
but that was possible only because we lived in Lowell House, really.
Well, like many of the families who are watching, you have seen through many commencements
yes.
for these children, and when I think about just what this campus means to you. It's the students, it's the colleagues, it's the classroom, but it is also your family.
It is my family, too, absolutely. And we've been through that, and you yourself have a family that has grown up as you've been at the Ed School.
Yes, of course, yeah. And I think I'm just struck by, from where we can see, we see primarily what you would typically think of Harvard as the faculty, the students, and the dignitaries. But particularly as we're thinking about the many people who are tuning in on the stream right now, the threads that connect all of us extends all around the world and extends in time, that it goes far back than this moment, but all the little moments that have led up to this moment.
Oh, yes.
All the little things all the things that we may not even remember, but somehow they're instrumental in how each of us become who we are. And, think about what you were saying about transition. This is really the kind of moment for us to look back and see where we have come from.
Yes.
To be able to cherish and celebrate this moment of where we are, but then to know not just where we're going, but perhaps where we're returning to, where our homes are.
Yes. And, for me, that's a complicated question, because my home has been here in Massachusetts for almost 50 years, but I still come from Montana out in the Rocky Mountains, and that's home too. But we begin to recognize the many places that are home for us. And Harvard has been a kind of home for me. I'm set to retire at the end of next year, and I'm not going to move away from this community, but it will be another phase. When you think about the life cycle, which my mentor, Eric Erickson, did, and who also was involved in early childhood development, the life cycle is part of what we're looking at today and what I'm experiencing as well, having done this for quite a number of years now through various phases of my own life. You see those honorands who are seated in the front row on the left when we get that picture again. And gradually, there they are. And I think everyone has almost managed to get into the seats where the undergraduates are supposed to be seated. So that mass of black robes is going to be a solid mass before long. This is a big transition for many people. The last commencement of President Larry Bacow. And by this time next year, it will be President Claudine Gay, who is here today as the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences.
And Claudine Day becoming president is itself a history-making moment for Harvard University.
It is. I mean, yes. I mean, when we start thinking about the first of this, that, we have many deans who are first in their schools. We have had quite a few African-American deans. We have deans who are moving on this year. I mentioned Michelle Williams, and also the Dean of C's of the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, the Dean of the Divinity School. There's President Bacow. Yep. And we see the houses now filing in to take their places on those seats reserved for undergraduates.
I think as the undergraduates fill the rest of their seats, we will be waiting for the bell chimes from the church.
There's as these undergraduates file in, we're hearing some of the great fight songs of Harvard, 10,000 Men of Harvard.
Right.
Well, that's one of the favorites. And there is our new president, incoming president, Claudine Gay. And next to her on the right, Emma Dench, who is the dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, which has a new name. And on the left is Provost Alan Garber. And there, Claudine Gay is taking a selfie. This is good. Behind Emma Dench is the outgoing dean of the Divinity School, David Hempton, who has given some very powerful speeches. He is from Northern Ireland and speaks a lot about what the history of being from that kind of war-torn place has meant. I love it how the faculty are taking selfies as well.
But it's certainly a moment to remember. I think one of my favorite things during this time, being outside the commencement, is to just walk around our school and run into not just our students, but their families. And then there's always time for pictures, and it was just so lovely to meet parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters, and all the people that helped to mold our students and became just this important part of their growing up.
And hopefully many of the families are here today, or at least a few representative members, but many cannot be here. So hopefully they can be listening to us either today or when they do have time. There's President Bacow, and he's standing in front of one of the things that is a great tradition here. That's an old Jacobean chair that has been sat in by every president since the time of President Holyoke back in the 19th century. It is a relic. It's treated very carefully in the Fogg Museum. It's triangular in shape, and it is not very comfortable. But the president sits on that just for the period of this commencement, and then it's put back in its safe container and taken back to the vaults of the Fogg Museum. And he's standing there on the right with Bill Kirby, who was at one time the dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences.
The Faculty of Arts and Sciences is the biggest body of faculty
Yes,
here
it
at
is.
the university.
And that's the faculty that convenes in the faculty room on the second floor of University Hall. But that faculty room is actually too small if all the members of the faculty come. So every once in a while we have our faculty meetings in one of the big auditoria of the Science Center. And we're looking here at where the Harvard Law School is situated. They have their gavels that they will wave in the air as their degrees are pronounced.
Well, here on the cameras, we can start to see just how enormous this scene is. Right? So
Really
even
is.
as many people as you can see on the scene, it doesn't quite even capture what's in front of us. This is just kind of the frontal view of all the families who are here, and now we have right in front of the library as many families waits there.
Let me say something about the conferring of degrees, because there is a little booklet. Now, I have mine from 1996 here, it goes back a ways, but this is almost like, sort of Book of Common Prayer of commencement. Because once the sheriff has called things to order, there are many things that are absolutely set and have been set in this booklet. The ways that the deans are introduced, the order in which they're introduced, the ways in which the president speaks of the graduates. Every once in a while you hear 10,000 men of Harvard coming to what seems like a close, and it looks to me as if the aisle is almost clear here. Not quite, but people are starting to cheer, hoping that this will begin before long.
We're getting close, to the church bells.
It will.
What an exciting moment.
And Peter Katujian, who is the sheriff of Middlesex County, who leads the presidential procession, he will be asked by the University Marshal, now Katie O'Dare, to give us order. And we're still hoping that all the rest of those chairs are filled up very soon.
And we're waiting for the bell from the memorial
church.
And soon we will see the steeple of the memorial church on camera. And this is where, and we can also, this is, you know, when the steeple come into view, we get to see what truly a beautiful day this really is.
It really is.
For this celebration.
And at the end of the whole celebration, there is a chime of bells from 17 bell towers around
all around Harvard. Yes.
And of course, the biggest are the bells in the Lowell House bell tower, the largest of which is 15 tons, an immense bell called the Mother Earth bell. And those bells are rung every Sunday around 1 or 1:15, much to the aggravation of their near neighbors. They are an extraordinary collection of bells, and we're very lucky to have them.
That's great.
There's the tower of the Memorial Church. There is the bell.
There we go.
And
we're getting started.
From all around, we're hearing the waving and
there's so much
clapping.
excitement. You and I can't hear each other at this moment.
Yeah, here it is. The whole place filled with the 9,000 some graduates who will be moving on to the next phase of their lives today. Katie O'Dare.
Pray, give us order.
As the High Sheriff of Middlesex County, I declare that the meeting will be in order!
Please rise, if you are able, for the national anthem, to be sung by Arhan Kumar. Please remain standing as Provost Alan Garber and the chaplains of the day, Samia Omar and Imam Dr. Khalil Abdur Rashid, open the exercises.
Sacred Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
Harvard University is located on the traditional and ancestral land of the Massachusetts, the original inhabitants of what is now known as Boston and Cambridge. We pay respect to the people of the Massachusetts tribe, past and present, and honor the land itself, which remains sacred to the Massachusetts people.
Let us pray. In the name of our Lord, the most compassionate, the most merciful, who has inspired the human being to read, who has guided the human being to the use of the pen, and who has taught the human being that which they did not know. Our Lord, you are the light of the heavens and the earth, and everything in between. We ask you, just as you have blessed this great institution to enlighten the world through knowledge and truth, make these graduates lights and illuminate their lives, and through them illuminate the lives of others. Our Lord, bless all the faculty here today who tirelessly taught generation after generation. Make what they have instilled in the hearts and minds of these graduates to be beneficial to all of humanity. Our Lord, we ask you to bless our gathering today and to bless our graduates who are among the future leaders of tomorrow. Protect their hearts and ours from anger, arrogance, and hate, and fill it with compassion, humility, and peace.
Our Lord, our world needs true exemplars in all walks of life, who lead through service and possess strong moral character. We ask you to bless these graduates to lead through service to others. Grant these graduates sublime character. Gift them the will to do good with goodwill. Bestow upon them righteousness and sincerity. Move them to engage in the work of transforming hate into hope, apathy into empathy, vitriol into virtue, and injustice to justice. Protect them from despair, and enable them to always remember their values. through their efforts to heal the world. Reward them with success in their endeavors and with your love and grace. Amen.
Please be seated. To everyone who is assembled here today to celebrate the class of 2023, welcome. Congratulations, moms and dads, spouses, children, family, and friends, for your constant supply of admiration, aspiration, and inspiration. We give you commencement. I now have a favor to ask of all of our graduates. I ask you to join me in thanking the people sitting here behind you, as well as who are watching us virtually, who have supported you on this journey to this moment, in this yard, as you are about to become Harvard alumni. Now the favor. I would like you all to stand, turn around, and thank those people who made it possible for you to be here. Welcome to all for our joyous gathering. Now let's actually begin. We begin with the Latin salutatory, the value of a Harvard education, candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Government, Josiah Ethan Meadows.
The first of the commencement addresses to be given in Latin today.
Praeses ad modum colende, praeses designata, soci inspectoresque honoratissimi, professores tutoresque doctissimi, condiscipuli sodalesque carissimi, vos denique quod estis auditores spectatissimi, salvete omnes. per quattor paene saecula, anniversariu ritu, in hanc aulam convenimus, ad hunc diem festum celebrandum. Quando quidem per multi clari oratores in haec rostra scendere, ut hoc in conventu celeberrimo disserrent, grato ac submisso animo ad hoc officium accedo. Nunc dicere licet mi aliquid commune esse, cum vidis illustribus qui ante nos fuere, ad quix stetere, ut cum Winstonio Churchill et Johanne Kennedy ac Forresto Gump. Ne vetus consuetudo maiorum has solennitatis Latini incipiendi pereat, egregia Romanorum lingua vos salvere iubemus. Forsitan quispiam quaerat, quam obrem nostra aetate orationem Latinam habere oporteat, cui respondebo lubenter hanc arripimus occasionem, Ialenses facundia vincendi, cum isti in comiti suis Latine loqui omnino nequeant. Si qui alumni Ialenses in nostrum numerum forte correpserint, profecto inter se murmurant, what in the world does this mean? Hoc quadriennio feliciter per acto, vobiscum auditores ornatissimi de fructibus doctrinae Harvardianae disserere velim. In primis, per hanc institutionem Harvardianam, cives artis rhetoricae periti fiunt. Ad academiam nostram advenimus, imaginibus, Demosthenis, Ciceronis, divique Chrysostomi, principum eloquentiae de altis theatris andri fastigis nos intuentibus. Vigiliae eorum sempiternae haudignari, indicendi exercitatione eus aemulari conati sumus. Quam gravia erant ea de quibus disputabimus, quorum unum praebebo exemplum. Eo die quodomus attributa inuntiantur, unus quisque nostrum, nova fidelitate per motus, laudibus domum suam extollit. Certavimus de magnificentia domus Eliotianae, Dunserianae, Adamsianae, Winthropianae. I quoque qui ad aulam quadratam, eheu quam longe remotam quasi in exilium eiecti praestantiam domum suarum vehementer defendunt. Haud raro autem dicuntur tam quam Socrates inferiorem causam efficere superiorem. Sed non solum dicere, urum etiam cogitare didicimus. In iure et rebus politicis cogitavimus communia. In medicina et physicis naturalia. In litteris et poesi pulcra. In astronomia et mathematicis aeterna. In philosophia et theologia toagaton. Denique in disciplina celeberrima rerum economicarum cogitamus de pecunia? Quae quidem exercitatio cogitandi haud facilis fuit, quidam nostrum sedulo animus intendimus in renati Cartesi philosophi decretum, cogito ergo sum. Ad Paulo post dictum simile didicimus, covido ergo zoom. Sed, in inquisitione ad investigatione veri, in ruptam copulam amoris invenimus, ut versibus horati poetae inscriptumst, in porta, a corte academica anni millesimi octodecimi quinquesimi septima dedicata, cuius juvenes, cum horrido bello civili corto, ad versus se armis dimicassent, tamen in amicitia usque ad supremam diem permanserunt. Quam vis decorumst in solitudine, ingeni facultates exercere, multo suavius est in amicitia investigare veritatem Christo et ecclesiae. Hic enim coluntur homonoia eleuteriotes, neque ullo alio totius orbis terrarum loco, artiore fidei et amicitiae vinclo coniunguntur homines, qui humanitati, virtuti, pietati student. Ex hoc constat summum institutionis Harvardianae beneficium, quam ob rem magnopere vos hortor comites, ut has amicitias tum quoque collere pergatis, cum alma matrem reliqueritis. Et quamquam hodie id vobis dico, gratis Deo optimo maximo, sapientiae fonti in exhausto persolvens, ac dulciter de hisce splendentibus annis cogitans, quibus aetate florentes fructis sumus, utinam ne supremum tempus sit, quo dicimus valete!
Senior English Address. Enzymes. Candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Chemical and Physical Biology. Palace Cho.
I love enzymes. Tiny molecular machines, too small to be seen by the naked eye. They're in each of our cells, performing important life functions, like helping us breathe and allowing us to eat yummy foods, like the warm Taiwanese beef noodle soup my mother makes, 牛肉面. Yeah. And the creamy New England chowder my friends and I savor on Friday nights in the D Hall. Enzymes perform these functions by bringing together different molecules in the cell, causing these molecules to interact with each other. As a chemical and physical biology student, I spend a lot of time working with enzymes in the lab. There are so many different types of enzymes, each one with a different shape, color, and size, and all serving different purposes that allow our human bodies to function. When I first walked into Harvard Yard, I could never have imagined all the amazing people I meet, hailing from Greece to Rwanda to Yemen to my home city in California. Together, we would have late night conversations and play Truth or Truth, learning about each other's aspirations and grilling each other about romantic interests. My perspectives on different issues in the world have widened because of these incredible people from all over the world. When you zoom into an enzyme, you'll see that it has a unique structure that allows it to perform its function. The different creases and folds of an enzyme allow it to do what it does. For instance, a gap in an enzyme might be where a molecule fits, and an extending branch of an enzyme might be where it grabs a molecule. Each crease, each fold, each loop, each bump makes an enzyme perform really fascinating functions. Part of the enzyme structure is determined by the DNA that encodes it. Similarly, our individual characteristics are partly determined by the families we come from. My family, my DNA, has indeed shaped my upbringing. From teaching me that nothing is too small for me to be passionate about and that library cards are the key to life, my family has formed a solid foundation of who I am. However, an enzyme structure is not only determined by the DNA that encodes it. Other enzymes in the cell, as well as the surrounding environment, help shape the enzyme. From our first year to now, we've been together through ups and downs, shaping each other. We've scrambled for boxes, toilet paper, and mute buttons as the world was shutting down in 2020. We've lived through a pandemic that has reconstructed our perception of what education can be. We've comforted each other as we grieved the loss of loved ones. We've met inspirational professors who help us grow and classmates who are musicians, magicians, and mountaineers who never fail to encourage us. For many of us, it was a long journey to get here, to be sitting here today in the theater. And today, we will celebrate. Enzymes, although small, make reactions that are impossible possible. By making possible the challenging intricacies of life, enzymes teach us that the boundaries of our abilities are limitless when we are shaped by those who care for us. Do not underestimate what we can collectively accomplish. Just as enzymes bring molecules together to catalyze chemical reactions, I've seen so many of you bring people together to catalyze change. As we leave Harvard, we will continue to shape and be shaped by the world around us, serving as enzymes of Veritas.
Graduate English Address. The next step. Candidate for the degree of Master in Public Policy, Vic Hogg.
Why did you come to Harvard? We all walked different paths to get here. I came to the Kennedy School from my small town in Michigan as a queer, Michigan? Yes, let's go. As a queer and non-binary citizen of the Nottawasepi Huron Band of the Potawatomi. I never felt destined for this place, but my application was full of grand visions of justice, and I came here on a mission to get land back to Indigenous tribes and to fight and to fight for queer and trans people. Maybe you, like me, imagined the leader you could be or the impact you could have. And maybe you, like me, found that when you got here, your biggest problem was more like not knowing how to format your Excel spreadsheet. So much for grand visions of leadership. Maybe you, like me, had a quiet voice inside that wondered whether you would make it to the ceremony at all. This became even more real for me 5 months ago. On December 23rd, 2022, while I was holiday shopping back home, I was shot by 2 boys in a carjacking gone wrong. As I waited for the EMTs, my leg went numb and I grew really tired, and I found myself thinking, I am 1 semester away from graduating. I know it might be weird that I was thinking that. At that moment I heard the laughs. But I had doubted whether I would be here to begin with, and I was so close. And I was thinking, well, my parents have to attend my funeral instead of my commencement. Have I spent all this time preparing for a future that I won't have? During our time here, we've experienced a pandemic, floods and earthquakes, wars and invasions, daily physical and mental health struggles, and more. When I was in the hospital, relearning how to walk, I wasn't sure how I would return here, much less realize the future that I'd envisioned for myself. I couldn't see how my life would get back on track. But I started to, 1 step at a time. My mom helped me get from the hospital bed to the chair. The next day, I made it to the door and back. When friends flew in to help, I'd ask them to join me for a walk every afternoon. And they'd look out at the snow and the sleet and our Michigan winter, and they'd say something like outside, really? But we went every day, limping through a bleak Michigan winter at a snail's pace with my mom on one side and a friend on the other. I started to move forward. I came to realize that I didn't need to see the destination. All I needed to see was one next step. We're here because we have big dreams, and it can be scary to even imagine reaching them. In your moments of uncertainty, just look for that next step. You haven't solved immigrant justice, but you can keep using Duolingo so you can speak to your clients in their own language. You haven't solved residential segregation, but you can show up to the next community meeting on affordable housing. And when all else fails, you can just get 8 hours of sleep or eat something other than pizza. 5 months ago, it seemed impossible that I would make it to the ceremony, let alone be here on the stage with my mom's hero, Tom Hanks. But here I am. And while it's me you see standing here today, I do not stand alone. I haven't taken a single step alone in the last 5 months. Clara wrestled the insurance companies. Kaitiki cooked me biryani. Bethany managed my entire calendar. Countless friends, family, and strangers have shown up for me in ways that I couldn't have imagined. There will come a moment for each of us where we realize that we cannot do it alone. In fact, that we have never done it alone and that we shouldn't do it alone. Class of 2023, I want you to hear me say this because I really know it to be true. We need each other. In your moments of doubt, who was there with you? Maybe it was a friend offering dinner, a call home, a mentor with sound advice. The poet Gwendolyn Brooks wrote, "We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond." I was fortunate to find my harvest here at Harvard. In the process of chasing your dreams, you will need people to comfort you, to coach you, to tell you that you have spinach in your teeth. And when you find yourself in your own cold Michigan winter, you will need people to walk alongside you. Some of those people are here today. So, this is it. In a few moments, we will take our next step out of these gates and into the world. We don't know what lies ahead, but the next time you find yourself wondering if you can face the challenge, today is your proof. We made it, and we will make it again, one step at a time, and never alone. Thank you.
I think Josiah, Palace, and Vic really embody the sense of joy. The song that's coming up is who they are and what they are. The idea of joy.
That was beautiful.
Guys, turn the mics on. Okay. Mom, raise your hand.
Yeah, let's see her.
What a great sense of joy.
Really wonderful. What a sense of joy.
Even out of darkness and pain, that our students thread that sense of joy into their work. And I think Thread of Joy is coming up next.
Threads of Joy.
Threads of Joy.
Written for this occasion.
Yes.
you seen it? Have 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 you seen it?
These addresses by selected candidates for ordinary degrees being ended, the deans of the several departments will now present to the President and Fellows and to the Board of Overseers, in the favoring presence of the family and friends here assembled, the candidates on whom the various academic distinctions are, with due ceremony, to be conferred. As we begin the conferral of degrees, it is my privilege to introduce, for the final time in this role, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, and for the first time on this platform, in anticipation of her new role, the President-elect of Harvard University.
Thank you. This is your day, not mine. Mr. President, can I go ahead and start? All right. Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, members of the Board of Overseers. In the name of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences and by its authority, I have the honor to report on 4 groups of candidates who will be presented to you today. First, the Dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences will present candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and then the degree of Master of Arts. Next, the Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences will present candidates for the degree of Master of Science and Master of Engineering. Third, the Dean of Continuing Education and University Extension will present candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Liberal Arts and Master of Liberal Arts in Extension Studies. Finally, near the close of these exercises, the seniors in Harvard College who are candidates for the first degree in arts or in science will stand proudly before you. The candidates in each of these groups have, by vote of the faculty, fulfilled the requirements for the degrees for which they are severally recommended. I salute all of these students trusting that they will forever wisely enjoy the freedoms that their education has given to them, while bearing the responsibilities that their learning demands of them. Each of these groups will now be introduced to you by the deans responsible for the programs in which they are enrolled.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy will rise. The Dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, and members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, I have the honor to present to you these scholars, all of whom have devoted themselves to the rigorous pursuit of advanced study, have attained high distinction, and have made original contributions to knowledge in their several fields of scholarship.
By virtue of authority delegated to me and recognizing your high academic achievements, I confer on you the Doctor of Philosophy and welcome you to the ancient and universal company of scholars and entrust you the free inquiry of future generations. Congratulations.
Candidates from the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences for the degree of Master of Arts will rise. The Dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, and members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, I have the honor to present to you these candidates, all of whom have completed a commendable step of advanced study in their respective disciplines.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Master of Arts and certify that you have surmounted with distinction an important stage of graduate study. Congratulations.
Candidates from the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences for the degrees of Master of Science and Master of Engineering will rise. With deep appreciation for his years of dedicated leadership and service, and with good wishes for providential times to come, I introduce the Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President and members of the Board of Overseers. As the Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, it is my honor to present these degree candidates who've completed a commendable stage of advanced study in engineering and applied sciences. They stand ready to address societal challenges through foundational science with translational impact.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Master of Science or Master of Engineering, and certified that you have surmounted with distinction an important stage of graduate study. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Liberal Arts and Master of Liberal Arts in Extension Studies will rise. The Dean of Continuing Education and University Extension.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President and members of the Boards of Overseers, as Dean of Continuing Education and University Extension, I have the honor to present to you these lifelong learners who, through their ability, curiosity, and drive, are candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Liberal Arts and Master of Liberal Arts in Extension Studies.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Bachelor of Liberal Arts or Master of Liberal Arts in Extension Studies and admit you to the Fellowship of Educated Individuals. Congratulations.
the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, members of the Board of Overseers. In the name of the Faculty of Medicine and by its authority, it's my honor today to report that 2 groups of candidates in the fields of medicine and dental medicine have fulfilled the requirements of the faculty for the degrees for which they are recommended. They will be presented to you by the deans responsible for the programs in which they are enrolled. And Mr. President, if I may, by virtue of the authority delegated to me as a parent, I wish to express my love and pride for my son, Nicholas Edmondson Daly, graduating today in the Harvard class of 23, Lebert House.
Candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Dental Medicine, Doctor of Medical Sciences, and Master of Medical Sciences will rise. The Dean of the School of Dental Medicine.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President and members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the School of Dental Medicine, I have the honor to present to you these degree candidates, each of whom has devoted 4 years to the study of dental medicine, or at least 3 years to postdoctoral studies at improving human health and quality of life.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Doctor of Dental Medicine, Doctor of Medical Sciences, or Master of Medical Sciences, and declare that you are qualified for practice and research in a demanding branch of medicine. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Medicine, Master of Medical Sciences, Master of Bioethics, Master of Biomedical Informatics, Master of Healthcare Quality and Safety, Master in Clinical Service Operations, and Master of Science will rise. The Dean for Medical Education.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean for Medical Education, I have the honor to present to you these inspirational degree candidates who have dedicated their lives to the relief of human suffering and prepared themselves well for a life of learning and service in medicine.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Doctor of Medicine or the other degrees in medicine for which your studies have qualified you, and declare that you are ready to pursue and advance an honorable and merciful calling. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Theology, Master of Divinity, Master of Religion and Public Life, Master of Theological Studies, and Master of Theology have risen. With deep appreciation for his years of dedicated leadership and service, I introduce the Dean of the Faculty of Divinity.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the Faculty of Divinity, one last time, I have the honor to present to you these degree candidates, all of whom have completed programs of religious and theological studies in preparation for careers as leaders in scholarship and vocations of service.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Doctor of Theology, Master of Divinity, Master of Religion and Public Life, Master of Theological Studies, or Master of Theology, and declare that you are well prepared to foster the health and vitality of communities of faith, to further scholarship in religious studies, and to help in shaping the shared values of a broader society. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Law, Master of Laws, and not to be left out, Doctor of Juridical Science, the Dean of the Faculty of Law.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, and members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the Faculty of Law, it is my honor to present to you these students, each of whom has completed a degree in legal studies towards the end of advancing justice and promoting the rule of law.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Doctor of Law, Master of Laws, or Doctor of Juridical Science, and declare that you are ready to aid in the shaping and application of those wise restraints that make us free. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degree of Master in Business Administration will rise. The Dean of the Faculty of Business Administration.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, and members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the Faculty of Business Administration, I have the honor to share with you these distinguished graduates. Present to you these distinguished graduates who have mastered the study of business administration and prepared themselves to be leaders who will make a difference in the world.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Master in Business Administration and testify that you are ready to lead people and organizations in enterprises that will serve society. Congratulations.
Candidates for the several degrees in design, architecture, landscape architecture, urban design, urban planning, design studies, and design engineering will rise. The Dean of the Faculty of Design.
Mr. President and Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President and members of the Board of Overseers. As Dean of the Faculty of Design, I have the honor to present to you these degree candidates, way over yonder, each of whom has qualified a master's degree in architecture, landscape architecture, urban design, urban planning, or design studies, or for a master's degree in design engineering conferred in collaboration with the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, or for the degree of Doctor in Design.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree for which studies have qualified you and declare your competence to lead in shaping the spaces in which we will live. Congratulations.
Candidates for the several degrees in public health will rise. With deep appreciation for her years of dedicated leadership and service, I introduce the Dean of the Faculty of Public Health.
I love public health.
And so do we.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, and members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the fabulous School and Faculty of Public Health, I have the honor to present to you these very loud these very capable, committed, and wise students, each of whom has qualified for a master's degree or a doctor's degree to provide leadership, advance knowledge, and improve the public's health.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degrees in public health for which your studies have qualified you, and declare that you are well prepared to generate and utilize knowledge to improve health throughout the world. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degrees of Master of Education and Doctor of Education Leadership. The Dean of the Faculty of Education.
Hello, Hugsy. Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, and members of the Board of Overseers, and Mr. Rogers, one of the greatest educators of our time. As Dean of the Faculty of Education, I have the honor to present to you these degree candidates who will change the world through education.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree of Master of Education or Doctor of Education Leadership, and declare that you are well prepared to guide and serve the learning needs of contemporary society. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degrees of Master in Public Administration, Master in Public Administration in International Development, and Master in Public Policy. The Dean of the Faculty of Government.
Mr. President and Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President and members of the Board of Overseers, as Dean of the Faculty of Government, I have the honor to present to you these degree candidates, each of whom has qualified to provide leadership in public service.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the degree for which your studies have qualified you, and testify that you are well prepared to serve as public leaders and to improve public policy and administration throughout the world. Congratulations.
Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science will rise. Their chosen representatives, together with candidates for those degrees summa cum laude, will draw near. Yeah. I just have to want to. It's after we gotta bring. Yeah. The Dean of Harvard College.
Mr. President, Fellows of Harvard College, Mr. President, and members of the Board of Overseers. As Dean of Harvard College, I have the honor to present to you these students, each of whom has fulfilled the faculty's requirements for the first degree in arts or science. Each candidate stands ready to advance knowledge, to promote understanding, and to serve society.
By virtue of authority delegated to me, I confer on you the first degree in arts or in science and admit you to the fellowship of educated individuals. Congratulations.
Here they are, admitted to the fellowship of educated individuals. And those who have drawn near are either the elected representatives, the marshals elected by the class, or students who have completed their degrees summa cum laude. And that requires a very high grade point average. All of that was decided at a faculty meeting this last Monday and confirmed by the officers of the university just yesterday. So they are being congratulated by Tom Hanks and by the president and by the dean. It is wonderful how much he has joined in to the celebration of these students, shaking hands with as many as he can. And there he is with Larry Bacow, the president, the dean, Rakesh Khurana. All of them congratulate these graduates one by one. These are the ones who have drawn near to stand at the head of this class. Our early educator, Mr. Roberts, there.
I think Tom Hanks is really playing the role of America's favorite dad.
He really is. It's wonderful to see him joining in with as much energy as he has. Absolutely wonderful. Shaking every hand he can. And following this and all these selfies, there will be the conferring of the honorary degrees. But the beauty of the ceremony and the sense, as the hymn said, for scholars past and present, whose bounty we digest.
By virtue of authority delegated to me by the two governing boards, I now confer the following honorary degrees. The provost will introduce the candidates.
His father was a Hollywood press agent whose clients included the entertainer Bob Hope. His mother worked with the comedian Jimmy Durante, but their son took a different route as a different kind of stand-up guy. He attended the Naval Academy as a basketball recruit. In his senior year, he collected nearly enough demerits to warrant an early exit from Annapolis. But he soldiered on and earned his degree. At the age of only 26, he was given the rare honor of commanding a Navy tanker. It didn't go so well. He steered the ship into a buoy. What choice do you make after you fail? He recalls thinking. Do you just give up? Or do you get up, knowing that you still have an awful lot to give? In time, his determination and his exceptional leadership qualities made him one of the Navy's rising stars. He rose to become the Vice Chief of Naval Operations, Commander of the Allied Joint Force Command in Naples, Commander of the U.S. Naval Forces in Europe, and Chief of Naval Operations. He is one of the few naval officers ever to hold 4 different 4-star assignments. In 2007, he was appointed Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the top position in the U.S. Armed Forces. In 2009, the Senate confirmed him to a second term by a unanimous vote. Serving under presidents of both parties, he led through a period of extraordinary challenge. He was known for advancing the fight against terrorism, for striving to protect U.S. interests in the Middle East, for elevating readiness to meet future threats, and for pursuing a balanced, integrated approach to myriad security risks worldwide. He also played a key role in ending Don't Ask, Don't Tell. His meritorious service has been honored by countries on 5 different continents. He retired from the Navy in 2011. Since then, among other things, he has taught from time to time at a humble institution off Exit 9 of the New Jersey Turnpike, a university that, fittingly, is best known for its basketball team. We salute Admiral Michael Mullen.
An admirable admiral, adroit and adaptable in advancing America's interests abroad, buoyed by faith in his force's devotion, through turbulent waters, he anchors away. Michael Glenn Mullen, Doctor of Laws.
She grew up in Hawaii. She loved exploring its natural environment, moss and mushrooms, lava and palms. She also loved solving puzzles and doing math. As an undergraduate at Pomona College, she developed a passion for the chemistry of living things. She did her PhD here at Harvard and stayed on as a postdoc in the lab of Jack Szostak, a future Nobel laureate. Then she was a postdoc in the lab of the Colorado lab of Thomas Cech, another future Nobel laureate. She came back east and rose through the faculty ranks at an obscure university in the pizza capital of southern Connecticut. There, she forged forward with her intensive research on the structure and function of RNA. In 2002, she moved to the University of California, Berkeley. In time, she became intrigued by what's known as CRISPR, an acronym for sequences of DNA with a less than euphonious name, clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. Most notably, she discovered the molecular marvel known as CRISPR-Cas9, often described as genetic scissors. CRISPR-Cas9 offers a path-breaking way to edit part of an organism's genetic code. Its implications for biology and its potential for treating illnesses, as well as improving agriculture, are far-reaching and profound. So much so that in 2020, she was honored with the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. That the honor followed so soon after the discovery reflects its extraordinary significance. Her work is a classic example of how research propelled by the sheer human passion to understand the world holds promise to change the world. The Li Ka-shing Chancellor's Professor of Biomedical Sciences at Berkeley and founder of the Innovative Genomics Institute, she is not only a pioneer in the science of gene editing, she is also a leading voice addressing its ethical use. To make sure that her first Harvard doctorate never gets lonely, we are pleased to confer a second one on Jennifer Doudna.
Deft in devising molecular scissors, persistent in parsing palindromic repeats, an edifying editor of the letters of life, whose scientific insights could not be crisper. Jennifer Doudna, Doctor of Science.
He was born in a small village in Oaxaca, Mexico. The son of indigenous Mixtec parents. At age 9, he immigrated to the United States. He grew up in poverty on a California prune farm and worked in the fields while attending school. At age 12, he contracted tuberculosis. He spent months in a sanitarium, isolated from his family, reading prodigiously, and spending hours listening to the radio. He was struck by the voices that were absent. An excellent student, he was admitted to Harvard College at a time when Mexican American and indigenous students at Harvard were very few. In his long ago days at Dunster House, he co-founded the student organization Harvard Radcliffe Raza. He launched the first Spanish language programming at radio station WHRB. He went on to Harvard Law School. During breaks, he returned to California to work in the fields. And after receiving his degree, he went back home, committed to serving his community. Soon after, with farm workers, activists, and others, he founded Radio Bilingüe. We didn't have a business plan, he recalls. We just did it. His goal was to uplift and amplify the rich diversity of voices in his community and to bring news, information, music, and cultural programming to people long excluded and underserved. Radio Bilingüe began as a single station based in Fresno. It blossomed into the national Latino public radio network with more than 20 stations in California and the U.S. Southwest, and scores of affiliates nationwide and in Mexico. It became one of the country's largest public radio networks with hundreds of thousands of devoted listeners invited to hear voices and viewpoints and music long scarce in U.S. media. A former MacArthur Fellow, he has been honored with the Corporation for Public Broadcasting's Murrow Award for Outstanding Achievement, and with the highest honor the National Endowment for the Humanities bestows for contributions to cultural heritage. Some 50 years after he received his past diplomas from Harvard, we welcome him back with pride to present his third. We honor Hugo Morales.
An impassioned pathbreaker in public media, creating new spaces for voices unheard. He awakens the airways to inform and inspire, making service to others his station in life. Hugo Morales, Doctor of Humane Letters.
Our next guest is a historian of exceptional erudition and scope. He wrote the first academic biography of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Nearly 5 decades later, he published a biography of Wendell Willkie, described as the businessman who saved his party and conceived a new world order. In between, he has written acclaimed books on the Dreyfus Affair in France, on the Harlem Renaissance, on African resistance to European colonialism, and on Islam's role in the making of Europe. His masterwork is the magisterial 2-volume biography of W.E.B. Du Bois, an 1890 graduate of Harvard College and the first African American to receive a Harvard PhD. Du Bois went on to become an eminent sociologist, prolific author, and trailblazing architect of the civil rights movement. Our guest's luminous portrait of the life of Du Bois was recognized with not one but 2 Pulitzer Prizes. The first volume was also awarded the Bancroft and Parkman Prizes, among history's highest accolades. A native of Little Rock, Arkansas, and a graduate of Fisk, Columbia, and the London School of Economics, he taught for nearly 2 decades at Rutgers as the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Professor of History. He went on to become the Julius Silver University Professor at NYU, where he is now emeritus. Scrupulous in his research, vast in his learning, often poetic in his writing, he is a historian devoted to the rigorous pursuit of truth. A scholar whose practice, he has said, is to let the facts find the theory. We not only welcome him, we bring him good wishes on this doubly special occasion. Yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you.
We honor and congratulate a former MacArthur Fellow, past president of the Society of American Historians, a recipient of the National Humanities Medal and Birthday Boy, David Levering Lewis.
A premier painter of portraits of progress, capacious in intellect, perspicacious in insight, his sagacious scholarship and elegant prose illumine the contours of consequential lives. David Levering Lewis, Doctor of Laws.
She grew up in a small village in Hungary, the daughter of a butcher and bookkeeper. She spent her early childhood in an adobe house with no refrigerator and no running water. A star science student from an early age, she went to college, then graduate school, and became fascinated by the molecule known as messenger RNA. The funds for her research dried up. She immigrated to the United States with her husband and their 2-year-old daughter. Under Hungarian law, they could bring only about $100 with them. But the rules evidently said nothing about their daughter's teddy bear, inside of which they sewed a stash of cash to help them make their new start. She worked at Temple University, then at the University of Pennsylvania, in research roles off the tenure track. She was determined to find a way that messenger RNA could be introduced into cells to cause a specific protein to be produced, either to trigger an immune response or to treat disease directly. She was continually met with skepticism by senior scientists and by grant makers. Nevertheless, she persisted. Eventually, she joined the lab of Penn immunologist Drew Weissman. The result was a pioneering discovery that enables the therapeutic use of messenger RNA. The discovery was crucial to the historic development of mRNA vaccines, a vital weapon in the battle against COVID-19. It underlines the vaccines developed by both Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech. She served as BioNTech's senior vice president from 2013 to 2022 and is now a professor at her alma mater, the University of Szeged in Hungary. After years of perseverance, pushing forward when others might have quit, she has been recognized with a cascade of honors. But that is not what she has found most gratifying. For me, she has said, the greatest recognition was the letter I received from a nursing home where everyone had been vaccinated during the outbreak. No one had died, and they thanked me. We thank you, too, for her resilience in pursuing transformative research and her contribution to saving countless lives. We honor Katalin Karikó.
A catalytic agent in the quest to conquer COVID, a paragon of perseverance in the face of doubt, a resolute investigator whose transformative research royally deserves our crimson corona. Katalin Karikó, Doctor of Science.
He made a splash in Splash, then hit it big in Big. He fell in love with the mermaid and followed her under the sea. He tapped out Heart and Soul on Tiptoe. He managed the Rockford Peaches to the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League Championship. He lost